A few weeks back, I watched a video that went viral where a preacher said if couples only have sex when they feel like having sex, their marriage is in trouble. He also said that there's such a thing called maintenance sex, where couples should have sex at least twice a week, even if they do not feel like it. So apparently, some people's marriages are falling apart because they are not having maintenance sex. Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Elma, a mom of two based in Nigeria. I'm typically not one to do a stitch video or a video debunking what somebody has said or not said. So this is just a video where I'm honestly expressing my thoughts on the topic maintenance sex in marriage. I can actually understand the message that was being passed across. I can agree that at some point in your marriage, couples need to get intentional about intimacy, because if they do not do that, then their intimacy with each other is going to dwindle as that marriage progresses or as that marriage ages. However, there was just something about the framing of that particular message that made me, just take a pause and reflect, especially on how as a society we tend to view marriage, intimacy and sex in marriage as a whole. So that is what this video is all about, and stick with me to the end, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. First things first, let's talk about sex. A lot of times people just often relate to sex as just something that should be done, and I want to put this out there to say that there's sex and there's intimacy. And while intimacy might involve sex, when you just talk about sex, you're just talking about sex, two people being intimate, but there is a whole lot that is not sex, that is intimacy. Now, I know that I'm probably just blabbing, but let me use an analogy to drive my point. We have a tree, and when you have a tree, you have to ensure first of all that the tree is cultivated on fertile ground and that tree is well watered and properly catered for. And you want to ensure that you're grooming the tree, you're nurturing the tree, and before you know it, when you give proper care to that tree, it's going to start bearing fruits. So that is how I see sex, especially in a marriage relationship. Sex is the fruit of affection, of care, of constant communication, of closeness and togetherness. So automatically, if you groom these aspects of your relationship, if partners or spouses are affectionate towards each other, if nobody feels taken for granted or used, if both partners feel acknowledged, there's a tendency that there will be closeness, and when there is closeness, sex will ultimately follow. Now, I know that there are various seasons in life, and true to form, if you've been married for long, I have been married for almost 5 years now, and actually this is the first time I'm hearing something like maintenance sex. So it actually got me thinking when I watched that clip, and I have been reflecting on it for about 2 weeks now, and I just felt the need to come and also share my thoughts on this topic, because the internet is a free street, right? Everyone can walk on that street. Let's talk about some of the aspects of that video. Yes, sex is a duty. Each partner owes the other person in marriage that due benevolence. In that particular video, the scripture 1 Corinthians chapter 7 was referenced, and in a little while I'll be going into that as well. But first thing, a statement was made where it said, even if you do not feel like partners should lie down and just have sex. I feel this begs the question of, what if one partner is really not feeling like it and the other is? So are we saying that it's okay to have sexual intercourse with your spouse when one person is not really consenting? I do not agree with that, honestly, and I'm actually going to talk more on that in a bit. But first of all, I want us to look at that particular scripture because I feel most of the time our emphasis as believers or as Christians, we tend to emphasize the aspect where it says, except it be for prayer and fasting, you have to ensure that your partner consents to it before you can deprive yourselves of sex. But most of the time, we do not emphasize the other preceding verse, I think verse 2, where it's talking about mutual willingness, where it says that the husband doesn't own his body and he owes his wife due benevolence. He owes his wife his body, his affection, and vice versa. The wife also does the same. So for me, I feel like the emphasis in that particular verse is more on mutual consent or mutual willingness to affection, to intimacy. If a couple decides together that they want to each week make out time to emphasize their relationship or to stick together or to build their connectivity as husband and wife, I can very much relate to that. But where you're saying it has to be all about sex, like okay, we're going to make out time in a week, twice, 3 times, as the case may be, to have sex, I feel that can introduce pressure. I don't know, it's just my honest opinion. What if on that particular day that you both have agreed, one person is unavoidably absent, or one person had a stressful day at work, and when you make a statement like okay, people should have it regardless of how they feel, I think that can cause more harm than good to the relationship, because resentment can creep in. One person can feel like they are not being acknowledged, or their feelings and emotions are not valid or valued in the relationship. So let me read out that scripture, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and I'm going to be using the Message Bible. So 1 Corinthians 7 verse 1 says, from 1 to 6, basically, just be patient. I need to read this fully to be able to drive my points home. So now getting down to the questions you asked in your letter to me. First, is it a good thing to have sexual relations? Certainly, but only within a certain context. It's good for a man to have a wife and for a woman to have a husband. Sexual drives are strong, but marriage is strong enough to contain them and provide for a balanced and fulfilling sexual life in a world of sexual disorder. The marriage bed, now this is where my emphasis is, the marriage bed must be a place of mutuality. The husband seeking to satisfy his wife, and the wife seeking to satisfy her husband. Marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Marriage is a decision to serve the other, whether in bed or out. Abstaining from sex is permissible for a period of time if you both agree to it, and if it is for the purposes of prayer and fasting, but only for such times as that. And it goes on to talk about so that Satan doesn't take that as an opportunity to tempt you. But then look at how it ends. It says, I am not, understand, commanding these periods of abstinence. I'm only providing my best counsel if you should choose them. So the point I'm trying to drive is the mutual part, and I feel like the Bible doesn't confuse itself. Amos 3:3 says, can two work together except they agree? So if one person is saying, oh, I feel like it, and the other person is saying, I don't feel like it, but we are passing across messages where we're saying whether you don't feel like it or not, just go ahead and have sex. I don't know, I feel like certain people can take that out of context. When we're dealing with topics like this, the framing is very, very important so that some people do not begin to, suffer in their marriage all as a form of it is duty. We are seeing that this scripture is admonishing both husbands and wives to be mutually consenting when it comes to intimacy or to have sex. I'm also seeing that there's such a thing as a period of time where both the husband and the wife agree not to have sex. And yeah, we can see that the apostle who wrote this letter mentioned prayer and fasting, and he said he's only providing his best counsel. But like I said earlier, I feel there are seasons and times in every marriage where maybe once a month they are able to have sex and their marriage is not dying. I don't believe that there is a one size fits all for marriages. There are couples who are having sex up to multiple times in a day each week and they're still having issues in their marriage. So I don't think that centering marital issues around sex or not having sex will be the ultimate reason why your marriage would struggle or fail. There are people whose marriages are strong and have been strong for so many decades and they are not having sex, quote unquote, as many as twice a week. I just want to clarify that. Let's say, for example, that your partner just had a surgery and is recovering from surgery. I mean, it is very much advisable to allow that person, whether it's your husband or your wife, to at least recover. And then there are also sometimes, especially for men, where maybe they are having work stress or there are issues at work, at the office, or deadlines to meet, or a project he or she is pursuing, and for that particular point in time that person is not particularly interested in having sex because they're already feeling enough pressure as it is. So should you, as the spouse or the partner to that person, be claiming, oh, it's my right, you're supposed to accord me my right? We can remember from the scripture that I read earlier, it says marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Okay, and that brings me to when Jesus came, the greatest commandment: love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your might, and with all your everything. Love God. And the second is like this: love your neighbor as yourself. So sometimes in the process of loving our spouse, we have to be able to sacrifice and put that sexual libido or that sexual urge to rest and prioritize your partner's emotions at that particular time. Be empathetic towards that partner, because I'm telling you, if a partner doesn't feel acknowledged, if your partner doesn't feel seen, if you are not empathetic, especially when they are going through very challenging seasons of their life where they need more than just sex, they need your full commitment, your emotions, your communication, they need you to be more empathetic and understanding towards them. If all you do is just talk about the fact that, oh, this person is not giving me sex, you're going to build resentment in that relationship. Is it okay for partners to choose intentionality or to be more intentional about their intimacy? Yes. And for me, I feel like intimacy is not just having sex. If people who are married over time can come together and say, okay, you know what, once every week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, depending on their schedule, we are going to say, we are going to put us first, our relationship first. The kids can wait, our work can wait as well. Maybe you go out on a date, and even if you're not going out, maybe it's something as simple as watching a movie at home together, or just spending 30 minutes to 1 hour just gisting, just talking, just letting each other know, how did my day go, how did your day go, what's going on at the office. I feel that would be much more beneficial to that marriage than just creating that time apart or that time aside and saying, okay, you know what, lie down, let's get down to business, making sex look like it's one mechanical thing, whereas it shouldn't be that way. That's my own opinion, actually. So that's pretty much my thoughts on this topic, and that's pretty much what I feel is obtainable, because I'm telling you, if all you're doing with your partner is saying, okay, every Tuesday and Friday and Wednesday, or every Saturday and Friday and Sunday we're going to have sex, it's going to introduce pressure at some point, because I feel it's not very sustainable. You really can't control the events that would happen the following week and the weeks after that. But if you tell yourselves that, okay, we are going to make our time for ourselves, and that can come in different forms. Partner's love language is also very important. It could be that, okay, this person loves receiving gifts, and you can say, okay, once in a month, I'm going to make out time and go shopping for my husband. I'm going to make out time and go shopping for my wife. It's not something that you exclude one gender from the other. I feel it has to be mutually beneficial. It has to be balanced, both the wife and the husband doing this together. I would really like to hear what you think about maintenance sex in marriage. Is it necessary? Is it really helping marriage? And then some people would say, well, it's scriptural. I just want you to share your own thoughts with me. This is just that reflection. It's typically not the kind of video I've been putting out there, but if you want to see more videos like this, also do well to let me know in the comments. And if you watched the video so far, you are the OG. Thank you very much for supporting my channel, and your support will not be complete with just watching. Make sure you also give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment, a few words of encouragement. I don't really mind. I'm at the phase where I read every single comment that pops up on my notification, and I do my best to respond as well, because I'm still growing, obviously. Although I have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, I have been advised to break it into phases. So my first goal is to get to 300 subscribers. So please do well to subscribe to the channel. Also share this video with your spouse, your friends that are married, even your friends that are not yet married, people that are of marriageable age. You can share this video with them, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Mwah.